Okay, I just woke up. I've been promising to do an update video for a very long time. So, I'm gonna get up. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so, first off, I've lost a lot of weight. A lot of weight. So these are men's size small. I love these. I love wearing boxer briefs. They're so comfortable. But yeah, they're, and this is not, I'm not flex. This is just how skinny I am. Okay. Come on, camera. Work. Is it gonna stay? Okay. Stay. Hello, howdy, ahoy. Actually, yeah, fuck it, whatever. You guys can just deal with my impromptu-ness. Yeah, it was really strange. I posted something about my weight loss on Instagram with kind of a long thing about it of, you know, like, this isn't intentional. Surprisingly, not every woman's main goal in life is to shrivel into a fucking bean pole, whatever. Yeah. Okay, gentlemen. Actually, no. Okay, men, because I know this isn't coming from the gentleman. If you think that it's a great compliment to say to a woman, I'm sorry, blankety blank blank blank, but at least you're still pretty, or at least you're still beautiful, or at least you're still hot, or at least you're still sexy, that's not a compliment. I don't think it's a compliment. Maybe I shouldn't speak for all women, but I've never met a woman who's thought that that's been a compliment. And we hear it a lot. It's like, oh, hey, I'm really sorry you have brain cancer, but you know what? At least you're smoking hot and you can still pull some dick. Again, it's not every woman's dream in life to just be something attractive for you to admire. Like, I could really give a fuck if you think I'm sexy. I'm... And this is in response to me saying, I'm really sick with mercury poisoning. Most days, I just vomit up what I eat. And that's if I can eat it all. Like, oh, but at least you're still pretty. That's just shut up. Just shut up. You are the reason that you're single. You and your mouth. Don't do it. Just some advice. Don't do it. Let that thought just go through your brain and out your ear into the universe. So, yeah, anyways. Okay, so, an update. I'm down around 30 pounds from the end of July now. So, what, like 3 months? 3.5 months. And really no end in sight. I maintained my weight for about 3 weeks, and then I went in after that, and I was down another 3 pounds, and I was like, I'm definitely down some more. Last weigh, I was down a pound and a half. So I usually weigh myself every time I'm in the gym. I usually go to the gym once a week. Every once in a while, I make it in twice. I do try to go in at least twice, because then I can shower twice a week. I don't really shower if I don't go to the gym. And then, which is fine because I'm not super active anyways, but yeah, the one day that I go in and actually do much of anything, it takes me a whole week to recover from. And I really only do that because I want to keep some muscle on my body. And yeah, I do see that my mascara is all over my face. I want to keep some muscle on my body as much as possible because even with the weight loss, that will help prevent other complications. Like, losing muscle mass is not a healthy thing at all, particularly when you're dealing with other issues. So that's a big goal of mine, is I go in and I do weight training. I don't really do cardio. I can't handle doing cardio at all. I don't sweat, so doing anything that you know, sweating would be associated with good things, especially cardio, is to be avoided. Same reason I don't go in the sauna right now, is same reason, sweating. I would just end up overheating and then I have to go to the hospital. So that's not my goal. I don't want to do that. And yeah, I do try to eat. I hate all food. At this point, I feel like because my body's reactions to eating are so miserable that my body is slowly training me to believe that eating is to be avoided. But I never have an appetite. When I do eat, the sight, smell, and taste of food is really gross to me. Like Fear Factor show level gross, where you just start thinking about, oh my God, she has to eat a glass of earthworms, and I'm like, oh. So I usually have to keep myself completely distracted when I'm eating and do my best not to think about the fact that I'm actually eating something in the moment. And then fatty meals are a no-go. If I eat something really fatty, it'll just sit right here for days, literally days and days and days. And I'll be burping it up if I don't just outright vomit it up for a couple of days before I can actually eat anything proper and digest it again. So I have to eat really pretty low fat, which means I have to rely on carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are like the worst form of fuel for your brain. For your body, they're just like, whatever. You know, my muscles are a little bit fuller. Like, I actually look like I've got decent muscle on me if I was trying to be this little, but I'm not. Like, I'm not trying to compete in bikini or something stupid like that. But the carbohydrates are not great for it. They have a very short shelf life in your body. So once you burn them up, they're gone. I found these. These are marshmallows. These are like the ugly marshmallows. I buy them in bulk because I have to rely on what few foods that I can eat. So yeah, you guys are gonna be horrified. I went from 100% raw carnivore, the golden child of the Jonas von der Plant crowd, which I don't even give a shit about Jonas's stuff. I don't buy into most of it, but that's fine. If that was helpful to you guys, then great. To now eating bags of marshmallows by the bulk. These are 1 pound bags that I bought a whole case of because they don't make me sick, and it's an easy way for me to get something into my body. Like, the texture of them doesn't weird me out. The taste, I mean, it basically just tastes like powdered sugar, vanilla powdered sugar, so it's really not that anything. Yeah, I have to eat a lot of carbohydrates because they don't power the brain well. So I eat a lot of those when I can. I eat ground beef. One positive, okay, I'm doing chelation right now. I know I'm all over the map. You guys don't even want to see how I function in my day-to-day life. It's total, if you're an organizational type, I would drive you batshit crazy because I'm just meat. Can't stay on task, can't stay focused. I have no idea what's going on most of the time. That's not me normally, that's the Mercury. Yeah, eat ground beef. One positive with the chelation is that my histamine reactions have died way down. So I take that as a huge positive. Because they were out of control. I would have a bite or two of ground beef and I'd start breaking out in hives because of the histamine reaction being so bad. It was awful. So that, knock on wood, is gone the way of the dodo. Yeah, I eat ground beef. I've got a container of chicken in my fridge. I've been trying to eat all weekend and week, and it's just so uninteresting. And I put stuff on these because I can't, like, everything tastes so disgusting. I kind of have to, like, figure out, well, if I put this on and then with this, and then the taste seem to taste like much of anything, and it does, but not the gross out type of stuff. I don't know, kind of like neutralize it so I can get it down. Yeah. So I've got marshmallows, ground beef, chicken. I can't do bacon anymore. It's way too fatty. Uh, I figured out a protein shake. So I buy beef collagen, and I mix that in with the like ancestral supplements or something. I'll add the link in the little description. It's the stuff owned by Liver King. I know everybody hates Liver King. I don't buy it because it's from Liver King. I buy it because it's just beef protein powder with minimal other bullshit in it. So I mix those because the ancestral supplement, whatever, has organs in it, and I don't want too much of those. Actually, I want very, very little. So I mix those together, and I usually have that for breakfast, sometimes dinner. Protein wise, I'm getting enough protein every day. It's just the calories that I have a really hard time getting 1,000 calories a day. If I had my way, I wouldn't eat it all because I don't have an appetite and everything just fucking grosses me out. But then I end up like I am and very skinny. So womp womp womp. Yeah, okay, the Mercury stuff. How's it going? I had my fillings replaced in July, and I've been doing chelation since. The first rounds of chelation were so hard. Oh my gosh. I would just sleep through mostly and like wake up and stumble around, fall into stuff, and just kind of stumble my way through everything. I wouldn't eat it all. It was too much work to eat. And then, yeah, basically I just bare minimum, like make sure Dora goes out to go potty and gets fed and then go back to bed and just do that for 3 days every weekend. I'm through the worst of that phase, and I actually started increasing my chelation dose. So, because the symptoms I was having during chelation weren't as severe, I was like, I feel like I could take a little harder punch now. Let's get punched a little bit harder. So yeah, so my symptoms are up a little bit again. This last weekend, it was kind of like I had a low-grade fever, flu type feeling all weekend. Especially when I slept, I had kind of like a fever. Not really sweating, but just hot, really, really hot, and not sleeping well. When I do chelation, I don't sleep worth a shit. So I take a lot of melatonin and these little herbal supplement thing for sleep. Oh, and I discovered, hold on, discovered this ornithine. I'd never heard of it before. It has definitely helped with the sleep when I'm on chelation round. So it's supposed to help with the urea cycle, helping rid the body of ammonia, which is a byproduct of protein metabolism. So I add this in. I got 3 different things I take at night before I go to bed, and that helps a lot. What else with chelation? Yeah, mostly I'm tired. I'm really tired and extra spacey. My brain doesn't work worth a shit. I mean, it doesn't really work worth a shit off round of chelation, but it's completely useless on round. And I usually try to avoid driving anywhere if I can help it. And then, yeah, I'll be doing this by all best guesstimates, like 3 to 5 years, maybe longer. I'm supposedly clear to start taking alpha lipoic acid, which is a type of chelator, which is funny because a lot of people just take it as a supplement and don't realize the risk involved if they have mercury fillings or if they have mercury in their body, that they could be really hurting themselves. But I'm supposed to be cleared for that in like 1 more week, but I'm probably going to wait off until the new year because I'm taking DMPS right now, and what that does, it pulls it out of your intracellular spaces, and then ALA starts pulling out of your organs and your brain. And if you don't want too much in your intracellular spaces because then when you start pulling it out of your organs and brain, there won't be anywhere for it to go as it's being processed out of the body, and you can have a lot of problems. So, but I feel like I'm still getting enough symptoms on such a super low dose of DMPS that I don't really want to go too fast in that regard. Low and slow is the motto. Low and slow. I'm definitely learning to be patient and learning to be an old lady. I had this older couple. Honestly, like, okay, I'm making this video. This is how things work for me. I'm making this video, and periodically I'm thinking, have I already posted this type of update? And I just don't remember that I have. Maybe I'm talking about all the same things. I could very well end up uploading a duplicate video of myself talking about the exact same things, and I wouldn't have a fucking clue unless somebody mentioned it to me. Sometimes I have conversations with people in my little physical circle around here, and it's like that. There's this one police officer in the neighborhood that I chatted with, I guess a couple of times is what he told me, when my mercury was really out of control. And I ran into him a couple weeks ago and just jabber John, da 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 da. And I was like, oh, well, it was really nice to talk to you. What was your name? And I go to introduce myself, and he's like, yeah, my name's John. Your name's Erica. We've talked a bunch. Like, we know each other. But I had no idea that I knew this person. But apparently, I've talked to him at great length at other times. And not only that, I've run into him at other times and recognized him. But not this time. I was like, oh, yeah, that actually sounds right. That, like, now that you say that, I understand why. I'm probably not going to tell you that it's because I have mercury poisoning. When I say it, it's like it's like I'm telling people I'm a reptilian. Actually, it's probably even worse than that, because there's a lot of people now that if you were to just walk up and say, I'm a reptilian, they'd be like, oh yeah, man, I'm a fucking reptilian too, or something really fucking bonkers. That's the world we live in. But now, if you say, yeah, I've got mercury poisoning, they're like, oh my God, what? What is that? What does that even mean? Or when they ask, well, how did you get that? I actually have no idea. I mean, I can guess. I had mercury fillings. So, I mean, if you have mercury fillings, you're getting mercury in your system from those fillings. There's just no way around it. There is no way around it. You have mercury in your body if you have mercury fillings. But getting people to understand that logic is bizarrely difficult. Then, you wouldn't believe how much mercury is in just common consumer products. And it's sprayed on your food. They spray it on our food. They spray it on our crops. Yeah. And most people think, oh, fish, you're eating a lot of sushi, a lot of, tuna or whatever. Everything I've read, it's actually in greater concentrations in things like herbs and spices. And we know how much everybody loves herbs and spices. Everything's got to be sauced up or seasoned or, whatever. So I don't touch any of that stuff with a 10-foot pole. I don't need herbs and spices in my life. Not to mention, there are a lot of herbs and spices that they're monothiol. I think that's the term. Monothiol. Groups where they're like gentle chelators. They're not a real chelator. They don't attach. So what a chelator is it's a molecule that attaches to heavy metals and then pulls it out of the body. When I say a gentle chelator, it's not really like a true chelator. What it does is it gently attaches to move it, but it doesn't have a good enough grasp to actually pull it out of the body. It just moves it around and carves out your innards a little bit more. Just does a little bit more damage as it moves that shit around. So yeah, things like garlic, onion. What's another really popular one? Anything soy. Soy is a weak chelator. Not a weak chelator. It's a thiol. It's got thiols in it. So there's I want to say it's like monothiol versus dithiol. So dithiols are true chelators they've got. Yeah, anyways, it gets complicated. In my brain, it makes sense, but then when I try to talk about it, my brain just starts shorting out, and it's not great. Yeah, in-person meetings at work are sometimes just like, oh my God, come on brain, help me out. Don't desert me right now. People are watching, they're depending on me. Which, funny enough, okay, in the midst of all this, I love the place that I work at because in the midst of this whole me being sick with mercury poisoning, they gave me an opportunity to move up in our company and into management, which I've been before, but for other reasons, I had asked them if I could step down into like an entry level position and just, really just kind of be the gear that's grinding stuff and just, knocking shit out and not having to be responsible for anybody else or make a lot of decisions. And they were really awesome. They were like, yep, no problem. Like, tell us what it is that you want to do and we'll make it happen. And then like 2 years ago, I talked to him, no, a year and a half ago, I talked to him about maybe moving into a management position, but it just didn't work out at the time. Like, we couldn't quite connect on everything. And thank fucking God. That was before I got really sick with the mercury stuff. So, like, I've always been kind of sick as an adult, but I wasn't dealing with the worst of the worst, like falling over and getting lost, just wandering around town and being unable to verbally communicate with people. So that all started happening and I got really sick and then figured out what it was and then figured out, okay, I got to get my fillings replaced and like, this is my action plan, blah, blah, blah. And they approached me again. They were like, hey, we really need somebody in this management position. We really want you to be in it. You're the perfect person. Can you, will you, do you want to? And I sat down and I had a moment of what seemed like to me clarity for about 2 days in a row where I asked a whole bunch of questions about it and was like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm on point. Like I could get this done, and said yes. And then, and so we got the ball rolling on moving me into that position. And then my brain just kind of went back into like, yeah, we don't really know what the fuck we're doing mode. And miraculously, I seem to be getting things done. And I seem to be staying on track with things. I rely heavily on written notes. So this notebook here stays with me 24/7. And it's just a running list of when something comes up on my brain, I write it down. Otherwise, it's gone forever and it will never, ever come back. So I make all these lists of things that need to get done. I lean really heavily on, we have got a project management app that we use at work, and I live by that thing and my calendar. So that's been an interesting thing. And so far, feedback from my bosses has been extraordinarily positive. I think I'm naturally the type, though, I feel like I'm always underperforming at work anyways, but I do try to keep it in real check because, and they know I have mercury poisoning. So, like when I have check-ins with my boss, I let her know, what's going on with, like, oh, this is a really rough week, or yeah, like just fucking knocked it out of the park, and things like that. So she knows what's going on and everything. Yeah, if you work in tech and you are looking for a remote position, let me know. We're usually hiring. I genuinely love working here. I did a one-on-one with a coworker earlier today, somebody who just joined. And I get so excited talking about, like, I genuinely love working for this company. I don't think most people can ever say that for the places that they work, and I fucking love working here. I love the people I work with. I love the customers that we help and the product that we do. I don't know, of all the things that stress me out in life, work is a very, not even small portion. Usually the stress that I experience about work is self-created anyways. Like, I just built up like all these ideas in my head about how far behind I am on a project, but I'm actually doing just fine. I usually feel like if I didn't get the project done in a third of the time, then I'm behind schedule. So, yeah. So having my brain not working is really, really frustrating for me because I'm usually, yeah. It's strange to say, though. So I have a very high IQ, and I would say that it's more of a curse than a blessing for the average person because I've noticed since I've been dumber, I've like really the mercury poisoning has made me stupid a lot of times. And since I've been dumber, it's a lot easier for me to socialize. And I don't want to say that in a way that's really like conceited, but it's easier for me to just go with the flow of conversations rather than being like, well, actually, hey, did you know about XYZ? And filling in the gaps and trying to educate people and like, oh, but did you learn about, this, or have you read this research paper or whatever? Because my brain is usually always on 24/7, just um, soaking up information and processing it and spitting it back out in some way. So in most social conversations and circles, they don't want to hear that shit. They're just like, yeah, whatever, just shut the fuck up and agree with us. They don't want to talk about diethyl groups on molecules and how that affects chelation. So my social life on that front has actually improved with my mercury poisoning, which is nice. I have a lot more friends, and especially women friends. I've made it a priority since I've been so sick. I don't date. I'm not dating people. I'm not on any dating apps. When men ask me out, I just tell them I don't date. I'm not dating people. I don't hang. And then they'll be like, oh, well, we don't have to date. We can just, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking my pants off with you either, sir. Um, whatever term it is you want to use, I'm not doing it with you. If you're a boy, you're disqualified. And then, but I've made a lot more women friends. And when I was younger, so I'm going to go way out in left field and just ramble with you guys a little bit because that's another thing lately. This is new. This is just the last couple weeks. I'm super rambly and I'm just going with it. I'm not fighting whatever this weird shit is that comes up. Like sometimes when I chelate, I get really, really hyper emotional and I'll just be watching like some random reel on Instagram. And next thing I know, I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm just like, like I just watched the most emotional movie ending or something like that, like Spirit, something of the Cimarron, but it's not. It'll just be like some random TikTok dance bullshit reel. So yeah, I just try not to fight it. Whatever comes up, if I'm gonna ramble, I'm just gonna go ramble. So I grew up believing that women were my competition and that they couldn't be trusted. They're all psycho crazy. They're liars. They're cheaters. Yeah, that was the lesson that was taught to me and by everybody around me, my family, and literally every single man I've ever been exposed to has in some way insinuated, except, well, actually, that's not true. There's like 5 men ever in the history of my life that I've encountered that don't do this in some capacity. They will somehow insinuate that women are crazy, lying, somehow abusive, whatever bullshit. And so I always just figured that was the case because when I was younger, I didn't have great luck making friends with girls. And because they would kind of, I think that they were learning the same thing, and so they treated me like I was competition, and I was like, well, I got to treat them like they're competition. And so we were coming at each other the same way to just basically expel one another. And now I've had a chance to meet some of these amazing women who, like, we don't see each other as competition. We're just like, fuck yeah, like girl power, and I love it. And also, I'm really sad. Sometimes I cried about this one day. I'm really sad sometimes because I'm like, I just turned 39 years old. And I've missed out on an entire lifetime of really fucking awesome or potentially awesome friendships with women because of this stupid idea drilled into my head that I have to compete with women for everything. Like, not even just for men, but just for anything and everything. For jobs, for just, I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah, so that's been a new realization, but I am absolutely loving these new friendships that I've made. And these women are so funny and smart and dynamic and just amazing. And like, I think about all of the, supposed friendships I've ever had with men, because I really hate to even call it that. Most friendships with men, like, especially if you're an attractive woman, they're not true friendships. They're some weird fantasy manipulation bullshit. They're basically just waiting in the wings for the one day when you're just like, okay, now's your chance, buddy. Strap up and get in there, get in the game. Whether it's to date or to fuck or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Like, most men hanging around an attractive girl, that's their ultimate MO. Even if they do that saying the opposite, most of their words are total bullshit. Sorry guys, I'm totally gonna shit on you. Get used to it. So yeah, but these women are so amazing. Like, just the way that they think and the things that they do, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. They are so much more complete as human beings than these men that I've ever invested time in. I love it. And the way that they treat me is really magical. I'm going to be totally selfish about that. I love the way they treat me. They listen to what I have to say. They don't turn every conversation into something sexual. Yeah, that gets really fucking old, buddies. Really, really old. Ugh. And in general, the weird shit that they think about is so next level. And they're very observant. I mean, of course, as a woman, you kind of have to be, but for a long time, I think I believed that was just a skill that I developed because of the craziness of how I've lived. But I'm realizing, oh, that's kind of a female trait, and I love it. I think that's so cool. Like, they pick up on the weird shit that I pick up on, and then we can talk about it. Oh my God, did you notice, like, XYZ? Yeah, I did. Did you? Oh, man. So, yeah. That's my little whatever. I fell asleep somehow watching a weird reel of, it's kind of like a Dateline snippet of, let's see if I can remember how it went. It was, this lady's name is Linda Parker, and she's signing all these mortgage applications or something like that. She's the signature on hundreds of thousands of mortgage applications for homes for people who've been, what was it? Okay, let me try to summarize. I can see it in my brain, but getting it out through my mouth is a little bit different story. Okay, so it was like a little news documentary. They were covering this one woman got evicted from her house, and the house got repossessed by the bank or whatever, and they were like, yep, you're done. It's ours now. We own it. And when they did some digging into it, there was something going on with fake mortgage lending from, I want to say it was a company like mortgages.com or something. But yeah, they were like, yeah, it's a mortgage lending, not a scam. Oh, come on, brain. Farm. It was some type of farm. So, have you ever heard of the fake diploma farms, where you can pay a company to get a fake diploma for, whatever under your name? It was like that, but it was for mortgage lending. And I'm pretty sure that was playing for 2 hours while I napped. So in my brain, I visualized the whole thing, even though I don't think I even really watched it with my eyeballs. I just listened to it. And I don't know how I got on it either. I was not looking at that when I fell asleep. Yeah. Okay, anyways, I might, let's see, what time is it? It's 4 o'clock. I did not go to the gym yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. I usually go on Mondays. Today's Tuesday. If I don't go today, that means I need to go tomorrow. A friend wanted me to come play dominoes with them tonight, but I'm kind Yeah, this is how decision making goes for me now. Anyways, I won't make you guys suffer through this anymore. This is my short update. There's so much going on around like the Mercury stuff. I don't really know where to start, and it's a strange thing in some ways too, because I I hate pity. I'm allergic to pity. So sometimes I want to post about stuff, but then at the same time, anytime I post something little, I get a whole bunch of pity messages, and I can't stand those. Like, I'm, in a really weird way, super grateful that I got this sick, because I've probably had mercury poisoning to some degree since I was born. And maybe I'll make some shorter little videos with like little facts about mercury poisoning, because, okay, for example, what they found in studies is that, let's say that I have mercury poisoning and I get pregnant. Let's say I have mercury poisoning and my blood levels are like 50 units out of 400 for mercury. Like, that's a totally made up unit system of measurement for mercury testing, but let's just say, so you have a small reference point. So 50 out of, what did I say, 400? My baby, the umbilical cord blood would be double that concentration. So it would be 100 units out of 400 in the cord blood, relative to my own. So if you have mercury in your system and you're thinking about getting pregnant, or you are pregnant, your baby's totally fucked. They're being born with more mercury relative volume in their system than you have, which is absolutely fucking bonkers. So my mom has a whole mouth of mercury fillings, and a lot of them are cracked and broken and leaking, and dentists know this, and they won't touch her with a 10-foot pole. They don't want the risk and the liability. They won't offer to help in any way fix them or replace them or anything. They don't even want to pull her teeth. So yeah, that's interesting. And then, like I mentioned, it's in all sorts of consumer goods. It's in fucking appliances. It's in LCD flat screen monitors, like for your computers. It's in batteries. It's in light bulbs, especially high efficiency light bulbs. It's all over. Like, for anybody to be amazed that a person could get mercury poisoning blows my mind. But the problem is testing it. So if you aren't exposed to a high dose recently within the last 3 months, it's not going to show up on any testing. So like, let's say that I hadn't been recently exposed to a high amount. All of those years, like 3 months after I'm born, being tested, it's not going to show up on a test, like the amount that I'm born with. And then it's not like, the test doesn't show your cumulative volume, so it's just going to show the recent exposure. So you could be exposed to this huge amount all back here, and then this little amount here that actually shows up on the test. So you aren't even seeing the full picture of what's happening with it. And how it affects your system is outrageous. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about some of there have been different outbreaks, like major outbreaks in certain cities in the past, where it's so obvious that you're just like, oh yeah, that's what it is, 100%. And they still didn't want to deal with it. They're just like, no, it's fine. It's, as far as I know, there's still a community in Canada, First Nations community in Canada, that's dealing with this. The whole town is just mercury poisoned, disabled. I'm like, it's fine. Just keep drinking the water. It's great. And then, oh man, I read this really interesting thing about 1971. There was a outbreak in, I believe it was Iraq. They had an outbreak from grain, and one of the earliest signs, was babies that wouldn't cry. They wouldn't cry. They weren't emotional. They just weren't very expressive, and they called it quiet baby syndrome, When I went to Google search quiet baby syndrome for more information, all I get is results for autism in children. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, you can say what you want about vaccines, but I don't want to say too much because, censorship. But one thing I find really curious is, okay, if you look at the ingredients label on a 24-dose vial of a vaccine, it'll say how much thimerosal is in it. Thimerosal is the mercury-containing ingredient in a vaccine. It'll tell you how much is in there, and there is a volume in there, and the volume varies depending on the individual vaccine, but it is in there. But then you split that 24-dose vial into 24 individual doses, and those individual doses, they say, have 0 mercury. And I don't know about you, but that's not really how math works. I'm not great at math. I'm not a mathematician. But that's not how math works. So, just saying. Oh, hey, that was the other thing. I was going to put that at the beginning. I'm really glad I remembered. I should have put it on my list, but I didn't. 1,000 subscribers, I guess a couple weeks ago. I haven't been in YouTube very often because, I haven't felt great. But I have 1,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome. It's kind of weird. Like, I wasn't really... I think I started doing this as a humorous kind of thing. Like self-entertainment. Like, this is funny. I'll make people watch me eat raw meat. I didn't really take it seriously. But there's some really wonderful people that follow me, and I appreciate you guys. There's some real idiots, but I just don't really pay too much attention to them. That's normal. But I had somebody message me, and I missed their message for a really long time, and I wrote back. I felt so bad. I think it'd been a couple of months since they first messaged me before I even saw it, and I replied back, and they were just so sweet and wonderful, and we had this really we're still having this ongoing conversation, but stuff like that makes my day. I like wonderful, genuine people. I don't really make time for stupid people. I got better things to do with my time. But people that are sweet and genuine, I would burn a building down for you if it meant saving your life. I'm just that type of person. Anyways, I'm plugging along. No pity messages, please. If you have something interesting to say or share, please do. I need to brush my hair, clearly. I did actually, I rinsed off yesterday. I took a semi-shower, but that's why I'm like, maybe I should go to the gym, take a shower, take a proper shower. I don't even remember what I was saying now. Fuck. Okay, that's my update. I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry I drug it out, and yeah, if you stayed with me this long, you're a fucking champion. Oh. Wake up, butt cheeks. Wake up. Oh, that's what I get for sitting too long. Do it. Oh, that's weird. What happened? Has it not been recording this whole time? You guys, I need a professional videographer to help me. I can't work my phone. I'm gonna be covered in powdered sugar. Is it weird that some days when I do eat a lot, the next day I weigh even less? I haven't worked out the math on that one. Okay. Evidence, I do eat. It's a very rare thing to see me eat, but I do eat marshmallows.